Well, good afternoon, everyone. It was a good win for us on Saturday. Needed to have that feeling back. It had been a while since we celebrated in the locker room. But the guys know why we were successful. We talked a little bit about it on Saturday afternoon of better energy, better physicality, better emotion, all those things. Go back, look at the film. We did some things a lot better. We've got to clean up an awful lot of things on both sides of the ball and on special teams. I think part of our effort and physicality kind of bailed us out a few times, but we've got to be better. We're giving up too many explosive plays on defense, not getting as many right now on offense. I know we did get the big run with Dylan, but we've got to be a little bit more efficient on offense and get a few more explosive plays, and we cannot give up as amount of explosive plays we are on defense. Positive side, Simon's punting the ball extremely well, which is a big key for us in flip and field position. We were good in the red zone on offense, and we won the turnover margin, and that was huge for us to get 3 big turnovers.
Coach, you mentioned after the game that third quarter gave you a little nerves. Let me read some stats here because I didn't realize how dramatic this shift was. Through the first possession UCF had in the third quarter, they had run 34 plays for 134 yards, including an 82-yard touchdown. From that point on, 171 rushing yards, 268 total additional yards. What exactly happened there?
Well, I would tell you a little bit of air got deflated out of us on the 80-yard touchdown pass because in reality we should have had a shutout at halftime. And we kind of not really bust a coverage. We don't play the technique the right way, and they get a big pass play. And my fear was some of what happened was, man, we're playing really good. Okay, now we get punched in the mouth. How are we going to respond? And that was good. I was excited coming out the second half. We get a big 3-and-out, and then our offense takes it. We win that 4-over-4 battle of the first 4 minutes of the second half, and then you're right. And then it kind of deflated on us, and a lot of it was communication and some technique errors, and we didn't finish plays. And I think that's the biggest thing is we got a guy in position to make a tackle on the long run, and we missed the tackle. And when you're playing really good offenses that know exactly where they're pushing the ball, crack people, all the stuff, and we don't make the tackle, big plays happen. And that was frustrating. Something we got to get cleaned up. You're going to give – offenses are too good. You're going to have 15-yard gains. You're even going to give up a 20-yard gain. We cannot give up the big plays that we have, and a lot of it is technique errors or communication.
After going back and watching the film, what did you think of the offensive line and some of those other guys that you worked in?
Yeah, I was really happy with them. I thought they played physical. I thought they communicated well. It's a pretty good front that we went against. All those guys, the ones you know about played really well. I thought Gus Hawkins came in and gave us some really good snaps. You can tell some of the freshman mistakes maybe he was making early in the season. He's gaining some confidence. Devin Vass came in and played 50-some snaps because J.B. Nelson couldn't go, and it gave us a great lift. And he was able to play both guard spots, which helped us get TP out a little bit. Liney's the one that he's the Swiss Army knife. He has to play them all. I wish he didn't have to, but in a game like that, we had to play him at multiple spots. But I thought Sam and TP, I thought TP played one of his best games of the year. We got to have that expectation of Sam and TP. But overall, I think we were more consistent. Did they whip us on some plays? You bet. But we were more consistent in the O-line.
Evaluating Avery, was he just – he played really well, but was he just more decisive in his decision-making?
I think there was like 3 or 4 plays that Wells had on him where he maybe missed the read and we had somebody open and he didn't just pull the trigger. There was one time on a 4th down where we had a couple of guys and he didn't pull the trigger on it and pulled it down and stuff. But I thought getting him going running the football, some of it was his own doing in the fact of, the first 3rd down, they blitz and they play man and they don't have a spy, and he breaks it for 25. I think that really gave him some life, as well as a couple of other plays. We had another fourth down play where it's a run pass option, and he makes a big play in the red zone. I think those things give him a lot of confidence, a lot of spark. And, he was, I think, protective of the football, did a really good job, of not throwing it into some coverage that maybe can get rattled around in there. But and we had a couple of drops again. But, I thought he played a good game. I know there's more in Avery, though.
Seems like the Baylor offense can hit more big plays than just about anybody out there. What is kind of the biggest concern with that?
Yeah, tempo, speed, terrific quarterback. That's been what we've been working on since about 1 o'clock after we went through the game on Sunday. They're a terrific offense. They're clicking on all cylinders. They've had really good success. They're putting up, 500 yards or so and tons of points. And it's not one person. I know the quarterback makes them go, but it's a variety of guys at wide receiver that are making plays for them. A terrific tight end, one of the best in the league. Really good running backs, and they're playing well up front. And so our big thing is if they're going to have 90 plays, we're going to be in a problem. And we've got to find ways to get off the field on defense and try to sustain some drives on offense so that we can play a little complementary football, because we don't want to get into in the 40s shootout with them, and you're not going to have a 10-6 game against these guys.
The touchdown pass to Will Ancio was seemed like it went exactly how you drew it up. What was kind of the backstory and what went into that play?
Yeah, they'd probably tell you more with the offensive guys. I saw them executed a few times. We've done it before in the past here, but we'd worked a couple of kind of half rolls already in the season with Avery. The whole key is, and I thought Ancio was a great one to do it, is you got to have patience and you got to sell that you're blocking at the point of attack and holding that so we can run our sprint out series. And then late he slips it and finds that open seam. It's a hard play to defend no matter what you do on defense, because the flow of it is going, and I think their backer or safety paused to say, okay, is there anybody coming back? Nope, don't see anybody coming back. Now I start flowing, and then it gets behind that guy. And that's a hard play to defend, especially when the flow's going one way and then we bring somebody back.
And maybe it's a small thing, but on punt returns this season, you guys haven't caught a lot of them in the air. You've been letting it bounce and let it roll or field it later. Yeah. What's gone into that strategy?
Yeah, on Saturday I was a little frustrated because I thought maybe we had Sterling lined up too deep, and maybe we thought the punter was better than he. Maybe he's a really good punter. He didn't have a very good day, but without a doubt, we've got to catch balls, and I know when we haven't caught them, we've saved some yards, but you can save a lot more by coming up catch. Some of it is poor punts. Honestly, some of it is poor punts, but like the first one was a really poor punt, and then they get a 25-yard roll, so then it's a great punt. But we've got to do a better job of probably aligning Sterling a little bit closer rather than having him so deep. All that being said, the first one landed at 28 into the wind. Well, we had him at 45. That's a big difference when you're kicking or with the wind. I'm sorry. And the kid hit a poor punt, but got a great bounce. But we've got to save those yards 100%.
Obviously, after the game, you want the guys to celebrate, and now it's Monday, and you got Baylor coming up. What's the message to the team right now as you embark on this week?
Well, know why we were successful. That's the first thing is, it's not like some magic potion that all of a sudden we played better. It was a combination of our preparation, combination of practices that we had with great energy. Like I told you, we went against offense versus defense all through the bye week, and then even on Tuesday and Wednesday. And if a play was made on either side of the ball, there was a celebration. And we needed that energy. Now, you don't ever want to get a penalty, and we got a sideline warning, but I was going to accept it on Saturday because we had not played with that energy. We should all the time, and we didn't. And so how do we make sure that that's not a one-off? And that's going to be the message today when we see the guys is notice why we were successful. We played more physical. We played with more energy. We had better week of practice, better week of preparation. Now you're going to go on the road and try to do this. We had a great crowd and sell out again. Thanks, K-State Nation, for continuing to support these guys. There's reasons to do it at home. Now you got to go on the road where it's going to be whatever the 74 of us that go on the road as players to make sure that they bring the juice together.
And I guess we're going to speak to Sterling maybe for the first time. And here's a guy that's kind of waited his time, and he's a hard worker and finally gets his catch. What does it maybe say about Sterling that he's kind of bided his time and made the most of his opportunity?
Yeah, I think the world of Sterling, and he's a really good player. He's been behind Jace Brown, who we all know is a really, really good player. But he got an opportunity. Isaac Cook got an opportunity. Devin Vass got an opportunity. You take those type of guys. You take Zach Wittenberg that plays on all these special teams, those things. That's K-State, is the guys that say, nope, I'm here for the name on the front of the jersey, not the name on the back of the jersey, and I'm going to bide my time, and I'm going to keep working hard because success is going to come. And that's why when Sterling catches the ball, everybody erupts, because they know the kid's been in the program. They know the legacy that he has. But, I see the same thing with Devin Vass when he makes a good block and the whole sideline goes crazy, or how about Blake Barnett running the ball and the whole sideline, everybody erupting because Blake's been – it's easy to root always for the starters that everybody knows. It's those role guys that are K-State that do everything. Jet Deneen, all those guys that have been in the program for a long time. And, I think the catch was huge for Sterling from a confidence from his own, state to say, he ran a really good route and he didn't body catch it. He snagged it out of the air and went and got it. And he's going to have more opportunities. But you got to get that confidence. No different than some of those other guys you mentioned. But happy for Sterling because he's put the work in and put the time in.
And then guy that maybe wasn't the plan to be the starter, but has come in and played really well is Luis. Yeah. How impressed have you been with what he's been able to do?
It's amazing watching that kid in practice because, we go outside and kick outside and it can be dead calm or it can be 25-mile-an-hour wind out there, and we get the music cranked up trying somehow to distract the kid. He just kind of got ice in his veins, and he loves those moments. And you never know that. We didn't recruit the kid till after the 4th of July, so you never know what's in a guy until, the first time he kicked and banged it through on whatever July 23rd or 24th at practice. People are like, oh boy, that came off the foot kind of nice. I mean, there was some pop on that, and just kept banging. He didn't miss very many in practice, and so we've got tremendous confidence in the kid. And I'll tell you, we're doing a really good job. Andrew Johnson snapping really well. Simon's holding. We're protecting really well on it. And, guys, you guys see the same thing I do, whether it's college and the NFL. That's not an automatic point anymore. I mean, things are getting blocked all the time, whether it's timing, whether it's the fact that there's just big, aggressive dudes jumping over or bull rushing people back, that we don't take those points for granted. And he's not just leaning it in. I mean, he's piping it between the goalposts, and so I'm excited for him because he has confidence already, but it's fun to see that confidence pay off in a game.
And then adding him so late, was that just the result of injuries and needing another guy?
Yeah, Cub Patton, we anticipated being a guy that was going to compete with Leighton Simmering, and both guys are probably done for the year. And Cub we knew was done, I don't know, maybe it was late June. And then Leighton was early in August, and we all looked, and he's like, boy, thank God we went and got him, or Simon was going to have to do everything. And Tegan Cobb could have helped in that, but what a great find this late, especially finding a kicker that it's hard to evaluate kickers on film.
How have you seen the growth in the secondary, considering some younger guys that are in there, and now they go up against the nation's best passing offense?
Yeah, we're going to find out. This week's going to be critical. I think people saw we made a flip with VJ and Wesley. We switched their positions in the bye week. Just wanted to get VJ more in the middle of the field and utilize his skill set there. Move Wesley into the boundary. That's a small fix, but it was something that takes some time. So I'm hoping that both those guys are going to feel more and more comfortable. Gunnar Maldonado finally healthy. It's the first time he was able to play without a knee brace on, and you could tell how much faster and quicker he was. Logan Bartley's getting an opportunity to play. We're playing a ton of corners out there. Zayshawn's a tremendous player that's gaining more and more confidence. And then we're playing 3 other guys at the other corner spot, and they're all going to have to play. And we're playing 2 stars or nickels. And one of the messages we're going to give today to the guys is I think we can travel 74 now. Thank heavens they upped it a little bit for us. But you better be able to play. It's going to be 90-some degrees on Saturday morning in Waco, and you're not going to just eat a steak on Friday. You need to have some value. You need to be able to play, and I don't care if that's the 9th or 10th O lineman to the 10th or 11th D lineman to the 5th corner. We need everybody right now because we can't go into this game saying, okay, if they're going to play at 80 to 90 plays and we would hope to get 80 plays on offense, no kid's going to play that many plays. We got to spread the wealth.
And health at wide receiver, just Jace coming out early, and just kind of an update on Durant too.
Yeah, we won't really know probably until middle of the week when we practice on Tuesday and Wednesday. But I'm hopeful for all of them. They're not out long term, and so can we do enough things with treatments and stuff to get them ready to play? I know that the guys that are banged up are going to work their tails off to get healthy, and we'll find out where we're at Tuesday and Wednesday.
Blake Barnett package, how long you been working on that? Was that a bye week thing?
It was a bye week. I think we improved in the bye week for sure in a lot of different areas. It was just a way for us to try to evaluate Blake a little bit too. Blake's a really good athlete, and we're like, hey, we didn't know through the bye week if we were going to have Dylan back, okay? And so we needed to have another guy that could run the football. And so I don't know how much we'll expand on it. I haven't been with the offense. I've been mostly with the defense today. So, but it was something that gave us a little bit of a spark, and we ended up having Dylan. But since they put it in the bye week when we didn't have Dylan, we're like, hey, let's use it and see how it works. But I think it helped Blake. It's no different than Sterling or any of those other guys we're talking about. Man, you get into a game and you have some success, it's going to give you some confidence.
Going back to the wide receivers, how big was it for Tibbs to step up in the absence of some of those guys?
Yeah, I thought Wellesley did a great job of moving him around. When you don't have JB and you didn't have Jason and Adonis had to come out, we had to find different ways to get Tibbs the ball. We had to play more tight end packages. Hopefully we get some of those wide receivers back and get more back to conventional stuff. But I thought Tibbs did a really good job of stepping up and making some plays.
Back to that Barnett package that you ran, give me your evaluation of how effective it was, and how does that impact the defense?
Well, the effectiveness could have been because they weren't expecting it for sure, and it was a different formation. You can only go to the well so often, but we needed a spark, and we wanted to get that spark. And I think we used it in the second series after we turned it over in the first series, even though we had a really good drive. And I just thought, and Matt and I had talked Thursday and Friday, I don't want to just practice this. Let's run this. Whether it's in the first series, second series, third series, let's put it out there. But it makes people have to probably defend a second guy that could come in the game at quarterback. Blake's a really good thrower too. I mean, this isn't Wildcat, and that's the thing that we need to see Blake in a real game play quarterback by himself. Right now that hasn't had to happen because Avery's been healthy, but hopefully that can help that kid gain some confidence. But I know defensively everybody has their Wildcat package. Everybody has their empty package. Everybody has their unbalanced package. People have more Wildcat than they do two quarterback packages on defense. I mean, Dave will have the same stuff. He'll have all the answers for it. But we we just needed a spark. And we knew that UCF wasn't going to practice that. So we just needed a spark. Once again, I don't know where it'll go, if it'll even continue, but we just needed a spark, especially not knowing if we'd have Dylan.
What do you see from that Baylor defense?
They're a veteran group for starters, a lot of guys that have played a ton of snaps, whether it's at Baylor or another place, but they've got they fly around. I think they're doing some really good things on defense. They pressure really well, but I think they tackle exceptionally well. They're probably going to be the same way with us. They're going to have to play a lot of guys with it being a warm day. I don't know what it was like in Stillwater on Saturday, but, for both teams, I would assume, especially for us, the heat that we had to play in on Saturday hopefully will help us. It's going to be warm this week from a practice standpoint, and then having to play in that heat again. But I think they're really active, and I know Dave's extremely involved at the defense, and when he's involved, they're going to be really good.
And then we didn't really get a chance to talk to you about it closer to when it happened, but Mike Gundy is no longer the head coach at Oklahoma State. Obviously, you coached against him for a number of years now. Just your reaction.
Yeah, sad, honestly. I don't know the circumstances. It's none of my business on the circumstances. I reached out to Mike because Mike's a colleague and a good friend, and I think we talked about it in here. Sam Pittman's a friend of mine. In this business, man, you got a lot of colleagues that you know what they go through and you know what their families go through, and my heart goes out to them because we know it's part of the business too. We absolutely know what we signed up for. But Mike's going to be all right. Mike's going to land on his feet, and Mike's going to probably coach again. And so it won't be the last we hear of Mike Gundy, that's for sure.
Back to that, you have one former head coach on your staff, and Matt Wells. How valuable is it to have someone that's been in that chair before?
Oh, it's huge. Yeah, it really is, because sometimes, we've talked about this, you get to kind of be on an island sometimes as a head coach. And for Matt to be a sounding board for me is huge, because he's been in my spot with success and with some times where it's really tough. And sometimes you just need to go in and shut the door and have a conversation about how to do something, how to get the spark back, how to handle guys, what messaging and stuff. Because if you've been in this business long enough, you're going to have some good things happening, and you're going to go through some rough times. There's no doubt about it. Everybody does. That's part of growth, and if you can't learn from that growth, you're wasting the opportunity when you have that adversity.
What's impressed you most about Quay Moss in the secondary?
He practices just like he plays. He plays with a motor. He's got really good ball skills, as we've seen. That was as good an interception guys as I've seen, and I saw a bunch with Jacob Parrish that are big time plays. And he's a physical kid. Loves the game. I think if just competitor and loves to play, that's the fun thing about watching Quay is, he was beat up a little bit last week, but you'd never know it. That kid wasn't going to wear a red jersey. No, I'm going to go play football. I only get so many opportunities. I'm going to go play football, and that's he's a great thing for our younger guys to see and say, man, that kid's beat up a little bit, but he don't care. He's going to practice and play the way the game is supposed to be played.